Hello there everyone and welcome to John Drinks, the channel where I, John, have a drink. And today I've got a big old bottle of an expensive whiskey. This is going to be fun. This is something that will have been covered a fair few times on the internet. It's not a new product by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a pricey one. This is actually, I mean, depending on where you get it from, it's more expensive than Johnnie Walker Blue. Is that accurate? That's not actually accurate because Johnnie Walker Blue's gone up again. Johnnie Walker Blue's like 170 now or something like that. It's supposed to be the RRP. Most often you'll find it for less, usually dicking around the 120, 130 mark, which is about where this stands. 130, 140 is what you normally pay for this. This is expensive. It's a lot. I remember some details about the webpage that I read on this yesterday, and the only reason I know about that is it turns out Bill Lumsden likes the same kind of coffee that I do, so that's fun. Story goes, Mr. Lumsden was enjoying a cup of Blue Mountain Java when he was like, hey, I should make a mocha flavoured whiskey. That'd be great. And lo and behold, long story short, that's kind of where this comes from. Now then, this is a no age statement. This is the Glenmorangie Signet. Glenmorangie, yes, I've said that right. Still in the old livery, although I don't think they're changing the Signet bottle. I think. Don't hold me to that. I'd be surprised because the new design kind of looks a bit janky and I just don't think it would sit well with what they're going with here, you know? They've done a redesign recently and I can't help but think of the 2.4 children's, theme, no, not theme tune, title cards, like the sitcom from the 90s and noughties, that one. I don't know why that comes to mind, but I don't know, it's maybe something about the typeface or something, but anyway, so signet, it just refers to, it's the symbol, it's a signet, there you go, you've heard of a signet ring and stuff like that, same idea, it's words. Yeah, so, I've had this a few times before. Legend goes that there is some quite old whiskey in here. But again, no age statements, so we've just kind of got to take them at face value for that. Now then, I want to quickly talk about the bottle. This is gift whiskey. But as gift whiskey goes, it's got a bit more to it than your aforementioned JW Blues and stuff like that. You know, it's got a little bit of substance to it. I wouldn't write this one off. It is expensive. However, it does also, it does have that kind of luxury whiskey, accessible, delightful, sweet, chocolatey kind of a flavour to it. And a big part of that is because these guys caused a bit of a rebellion back in the day. They used chocolate malt as part of the process of making this whiskey. Now then, the SWA were kind of like, you can't do that, and they fought back and been like, well, you said you have to use malt, you didn't say how we process it, and they were like, and there was a fight and some handbags were thrown at each other, and in the end the SWA relented, because this still exists, and it was repeated with one of the fucking Ardbeg, was it, Ardbeg, not Dark Cove, that would have made sense, it's the fake, Ardcore, there we go, it was like the fake punk IPA fucking... Ardbeg have really fallen off the wagon, haven't they? Yeah. Which is funny, actually, because same company. So I suppose that makes sense, really. If they wanted to do that, they would just take some of the chocolate malt out of Glenmorangie and just... I hadn't made that connection before. Even though I knew that already, I hadn't made that connection. Huh. Ain't the whiskey world a small place? Maybe they didn't do that, I don't know. But, yeah. So basically, the idea behind this is it's got kind of a mocha tiramisu kind of a deal with it. The bottle itself is beautiful, it's luxurious. It has a very heavy lid. Do you hear that? That is a hefty cork right there. It's got some fucking weight to it. It's been taken over by other weightier corks. If you've ever held one of the Bladnock metal corks, oh lordy, oh lordy, that could do some damage. Yeah, again, it's tying into the sort of luxury aspect. I don't know if the rim itself is metal as well, or that's just glass. I think that's just I think that's glass. I don't know. But the stopper itself is certainly metal. It's quite weighty. The idea behind it is that it's heavy, therefore it's quality. It's bollocks. It's just a cork at the end of the day, you know? That could just be any old cork. It doesn't need to be this hefty fucker. And yet it is, because, I don't know, our monkey brains are kind of like, yeah, that means it's good. You can kind of see the colour through the bottle there. No details on chill filtration, natural colour and all the rest of it, so we're going to assume that those things have happened to it, which obviously is marks against it. But it is 46%. So that's nice at least, you know, it's a stumble in the right direction. Glenmorangie do some 46%ers. I think no, it's the Quinta Ruben that is. It's the Los Santos 43 and the Quinta Ruben's 46. I believe that's the right way around. Yes, I'm going to double down and say yes on that one. On the opening nose, it has more of a coffee aroma than the Coffee Baileys did. So that's fun. Yeah, still not over that stuff. Still not forgiven it, if I'm completely honest. But there is also kind of like you baked apricots in the ovens. There's a very specific kind of aroma that they give off that's not a million miles away from kind of sort of baked pumpkin. It's that kind of odd earthy smell that they both take on. There is definitely a honeyed component to that as well. It does smell like a fresh kind of squeezy honey. I'd be struggling to say chocolate as well. I know in the back of my head I want to say chocolate because of the tasting notes that this is famous for. It's not there on the nose when I'm first kind of trying it out. This is going to kind of be a more of a glancing blow kind of a review, so I'm not going to be like adding water to it or anything like that, because nuance is kind of besides the point with this whiskey. It's more kind of like your initial impression of it. So I kind of want to see if it lives up to what it promises. That is a lovely whiskey. It is quite an integrated coffee, dark chocolate, malty. I know malty is a terrible descriptor for whiskey, but I mean it is a forward presence in the whiskey, so yeah. Brown sugar notes, there's a little treacle as it's kind of developing on the palate. It finishes on more kind of like a ristretto espresso, sort of a lingering, slightly bitter, dark roast flavour. There is an element of a really dark chocolate in there as well. It is reminiscent of something like a tiramisu. It's got a wonderful, dark, rich, luxurious flavour to it. So let's talk a little bit about the point of this whiskey, because the point of the whiskey is not a sophisticated whiskey experience. The point of this whiskey is to show off a little bit and kind of revel in the cost as much as anything else. Why does this liquid cost this much? I can't tell you. They probably can't tell you. They like to infer that, you know, it's very old stocks of whiskey. There is absolutely nothing to tell you that this is very old stocks of whiskey. I'm going to call out Bladnoch for this for a minute as well. Their latest release, Italia, is also a no-age statement. Bladnoch's gone very heavy on the no-age statements at the minute. I get it, they're building up new stocks. They've only taken over from the previous proprietors a handful of years ago. I think that's something we forget. But the new release of Italia, previously a 26-year-old, is now a no-age statement. Now they state it's from their older stocks. We have nothing to tell us that. Now then, is it a case that they're using most of their older stocks and a little bit younger stuff to kind of bring the ABV up and getting a balance? I don't know. We don't know. There's no age statement on it. There is no way for us to know. The best we can do is take a best guess. Or talk to some people in the know that are kind of like, I shouldn't tell you this. This is what it is. Shut up about it. the longer you spend with it, those roast coffee notes come out more and more. If he was aiming for coffee whiskey, he did it. He absolutely nailed it, and I think he knows he nailed it. Now, this whiskey is, again, a bit of an unusual one. It's not just all the dressing on the bottle. There is an element of experimentation to it, not least because they use roasted malt barley, but also, roasted malt barley is not the correct term because it's all roasted. Chocolate malt is what I should say. It's the kind of stuff that they use to make like stouts and porters and stuff. It gives it that dark, deep coffee roast flavour. So it's not surprising that it's translated into the spirit here. Sometimes used for dark IPAs as well, though they tend to be very hit and miss, dark IPAs. I thought that Stewart's Brewing should bring out a dark IPA version of their Jack Back and call it Black Jack, because people do it anyway, so it would be a funny little in-joke. It's just a little cask ale joke there for like the two people in the audience that care about that. Despite the tasting notes that are given, it's not overtly sweet. It has the flavour of sweet things, like a black coffee with like a bit of brown sugar in it, or chocolate, stuff like that. Just echoing kind of flavours of tiramisu almost. But the whiskey in and of itself is not sweet. It's very different. It's got a very, I'm hesitant to say unique, but a very signature flavour, for want of a better way of putting it, I suppose. I'm struggling with this one a little bit because it is an outlier, it's an unusual one. It's kind of a, despite sort of the luxury Tory packaging, it's a bit of a rebel. Sorry for any Tories that were offended, although I'd imagine you've got worse things to worry about at the moment. Although I'm recording this in October, so I mean, maybe they've cleaned up their mess? It's not likely, but maybe? I don't know. I can't tell the future. If I could, do you know what I'd do? Buy a lottery ticket. It's a delightful dessert whiskey, and I have nothing more to say on the matter. Let me know down below, what do you think of the Glenmorangie label redesign, incidentally? If you haven't seen it yet, go Google it and then let me know down here. Alternatively, have you tried the Signet? What did you think of it? Do you like it? Do you think it's a bit much? What do you think of the price point? Too expensive? I'm going to guess some people are going to say too expensive. Would you buy it as a gift? There you go. Let us know these things and more in the comments down below. Thank you very much for joining me. Do subscribe to the channel, thumb it and all that kind of stuff, and there's links to Patreon and becoming channel members and all that stuff. I've got emojis of Mo if you become a channel member, so that's fun. And do join me next time, where I'll be drinking something else.